Welcome to the Vermilion Podcast, a free audio library of business strategies, creative inspiration, and industry knowledge for actors, filmmakers, writers, and anyone looking to activate their creative potential. I'm Misha Calvert, a writer-director who helps artists build the careers that they dream of. I really hope that this podcast inspires you in some way. Thanks for tuning in. My guest this week is an incredible industry mover and shaker. She is a friend, she is a lawyer at Sundance, and just one of my favorite people, Sara Murphy. Hello, Sara.
You are so kind. It's an honor to be on the Vermilion podcast. And Misha, I'm just so grateful for everything you bring to this industry too. I know you do so much with the acting world and producing and writing and directing. You kind of are what do they call it? A multi-hyphenate. And so, yeah, I mean, who better to be friends with, right?
Thank you very much. That's incredibly kind of you. And you're calling from LA, correct?
I am calling from LA. Yes, the land of much rain and wind.
Ah, yes. Yes, I see the beautiful LA sky behind you. I want to talk about Sundance because I think a lot of people want to hear about your experience working there, but I also want to talk about your company that you are starting. So we're going to fit that in. I want to talk about film. I want to talk about also you've done some writing. I've read some of your writing. It's incredible. So these are all the things that I want to talk about. Let's start with Sundance because it was the last year in Park City.
It was. I know, so bittersweet.
What was it
And now
like?
Boulder, onto Boulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was such, for anyone who's been to Sundance, I think the best part about it for me is there's sort of this like, and this sounds so cheesy, but there's this magic in the air. It's all these people coming together who love indie films, who either are huge fans of it or who invest in it or who act or who, direct or write or who dream, right? There's so many filmmakers or wannabe filmmakers or film students who come to volunteer or come to see movies. And it's just a place where, you know, the world is it's tough. It's a tough industry. Or there's a lot of tough things happening in the industry right now, but it's a place where you kind of come back to why we do this in the first place. The love of the work, the love of being creative, and you can actually see people doing it, on a day-to-day basis. And when you look at the fact that we have like usually between, I think it's like 12 and 15,000 submissions between our feature film and short films, you really get the sense that there's a vibrant indie film industry that, kind of is a little bit under the radar. Not all the movies get talked about or seen or put onto platforms, but it's robust. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to witness.
Absolutely. I felt magic every single time I was at Sundance, and there's like excitement, there's deals, there's money, there's fans, there's genuine film lovers. And as an artist, it was just one of the best experiences that I think I've had in the industry.
That's incredible. That says a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I met my lawyer there, for one thing.
That's so funny. One of the best things about Sundance is the networking. You meet all
Yes.
kinds of people there. Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, so what is it that you do at Sundance exactly?
So I have one of the least glamorous jobs at Sundance, perhaps. I am an in-house lawyer, so I do pretty much all of the contracts cross my desk. So that ends up being somewhere in the thousands of contracts a year because we do so many artist grants, we do lab programs, fellowships. It's so much more than just the festival. And then when the festival comes around, we obviously have like vendor agreements and festival participation agreements and licenses and release forms and all kinds of stuff that go into actually making the festival come alive. So that's a big chunk of my work. And then I also do, kind of the typical lawyer, like licensing, copyright, trademark issues, labor issues, kind of whatever comes up, compliance with technological stuff, COVID laws, like whatever it is that's new and evolving, we have to kind of keep, in line with whatever the new regulations are, and pretty much it. But it's dynamic. And the best part is I get to be around all these incredible filmmakers all the time. So I'm constantly bopping in. We have a platform called Sundance Collab that has a bunch of educational classes, and I'm
Mhm.
constantly like I took an editing one a few months ago. That was really, really cool. And yeah, it's great to be in that kind of space all the time.
Yeah, I find it hard to imagine you had any time at all for a class, much less coming on my freaking podcast. I mean, how thousands of contracts. I'm overwhelmed even just listening to you describe the amount of work that you do, because I know how long it takes to do a contract well, and
Yeah.
and
Well,
how detailed, and you need to be rested too. You can't just be like half asleep at the wheel doing it.
oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the good news about, and this is like every lawyer's secret, and you hope your lawyer does this. So if your lawyer is doing this, it's good. It's going to save you money. But we all use templates. So I basically have a template that I can use and adjust for whatever I need. So it does still take time, but at least it's not like I'm reinventing the wheel every
Yeah.
single time I sit down to do a contract. Yeah. So it is good.
Yeah, that is good. It's just still a lot of work, and yeah, I'm like I think I my spirit animal is a lawyer. So
Oh,
I really understand the core of what you do and I really respect it.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's fun. It's a good challenge for sure.
Do you think that every artist should try and have a lawyer?
Not necessarily. I think lawyers are obviously very helpful, and I think you do almost always need an agreement for whatever you're doing, unless you're just starting out screenwriting and everybody kind of does their own thing, and you can probably figure out how to copyright your screenplay on your own. But once you start getting into, coming into deals with producers, or you're talking to investors, or anything that's going to involve like some sort of robust agreement, I think you need to bring a lawyer in. But if it's something like, opening up an LLC for your
Mhm.
film, I think a lot of producers, a lot of writers are smart enough to kind of figure that out on your own.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of templates out there as well. Like
Oh yeah.
a friend offered me a contract recently from ChatGPT and it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of templates out there. People, I think this is again where the networking comes into play. A lot of people have templates that they're willing to share. So whether it's like a financing agreement template or, a work for hire for whatever, an editor or colorist or something, people kind of share those around. And a lot of producers I know are very willing to help each other kind of navigate that.
Yeah, totally. Like when people ask me for contracts, if I do say no, it's not because I don't want to share, it's because I don't want to take the time to find the right contract.
Oh my gosh. I hear that. I know. It's actually harder to share contracts as a lawyer because every time I do, I have to be like, I am not providing you with legal advice. This is like
Mm,
coming from a producer and not from me as a lawyer. So it's a little
yeah.
bit of a weird divide.
Can you talk about your work as a producer? Because I know you've made films as a producer. I know you've written. So like where does artist Sarah live and do her work?
Yeah, this is actually something I'm struggling with right now. I'm going to be real honest with you. I think what I've realized, and you know this because our original podcast was scheduled 2 weeks before Sundance and I had to cancel because I had too much happening. The couple months before the festival, I have almost no time for anything else and no like emotional capacity, right? I get off of work and I'm like, I can read a book or I can binge reality TV and that's all I can do. Um, or work out. But I think
I vote
what
number
I'm trying
three.
to, yeah, I don't know. I know. I do too. I always feel so much better. Um, I think what it really is going to come down to is figuring out what my priorities are because I realized I don't thrive in situations where I don't have a creative outlet or I don't have time for a creative outlet. It's just such a key piece of who I am. And even if it's I'll be honest here, and I'm sure a lot of you listening might be able to relate, but I have like 30 screenplays that I have 15 pages written. Like I haven't been able to finish so many projects, and it's like, ugh, I could pick up any one of them, and I
Yeah.
just it's hard when I can't seem to justify finding the time, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense. And I think my solution to that, because I'm in the same boat as you, my solution is, well, number one, to create an ecosystem where you're forced to deliver. You surround yourself with at least one person who cares deeply about the outcome of that script, whichever script it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you use their passion as leverage for your work.
I love that.
And then the other thing is that it's usually a sign that you don't have enough support.
Interesting. Say more about that.
So if you're as smart as you are, and I know you are because I literally am talking to you, then you should be able to have gaps in your schedule where you are doing what you want to do because you work at
Yep.
such a high level as a lawyer that you should be able to control your schedule and be compensated accordingly. I know everyone at the top is busy, like, duh. Like, okay, next thought is, and you're so good and you're so niche, like you're, a world expert in many ways. You should be able to control time chunks where you get to do what you want. That's the trade-off for being a world expert. So if those hours are then getting sucked up to more supporting of others, looking to
Right.
how can you be supported?
Yeah. How can you kind of self-support by creating your own schedule? That's something that I'm sort of playing with now is trying to figure out so A, how to reprioritize and B, how to contradict some of the narratives. And I think artists probably struggle with this quite a bit because we really grow up in a society where, at least for me, the narrative was always having a 9 to 5 job is security. That's how you're financially secure. That's how you're safe. That's how you're going to build for retirement. And that's kind of what you need to be, yeah, like to get by in society. And I think so much of that is not necessarily true. And there's a lot that's sacrificed in living a 9 to 5 life and kind of
Hmm.
abandoning some of your other potential like things you're interested in
Yeah.
to achieve that like quote unquote security, right? So I'm really trying to kind of rethink the whole framework,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
you have Elon Musk saying, don't bother putting away for retirement because in 20 years, their AI is going to so change the face of human civilization. There's only going to be billionaires and trillionaires left, and everyone else will be dead.
which is really optimistic, and I love to think about that. Yeah. I have a
Sorry,
counter narrative though.
yes, no, I promised myself I wouldn't bring up doomsday bullshit,
uh,
but here I am. What is
but
your
here,
counter
no,
narrative?
okay. So the counter narrative is this. So we all know AI is taking up a lot of jobs. There's a lot of unemployment. The job market is really hard right now. I think that's going to continue to, progress. However, I think what that means is people who are leaving these traditional like corporate jobs will find themselves in a position to start out on their own venture and create something
Hmm.
niche and different and new that
Yeah.
is, they'll control their own schedules. And that's going to be so terrifying for everybody. But, artists have been doing it for hundreds of years, right? Like, this is something that people do on a regular basis. But whether it's being an influencer or whether, like you, like starting your own business, right? That's, I really think that's going to be the future is more like individualized, specialized niches in whatever
Yes.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, and also if it makes you happy, I mean, what else are we here for?
Oh, thank you. Yes. That's the other thing that I sort of think when you get kind of caught up in the corporate, run for money, and the hustle. And I think so much of the hustle too is real for people. I don't want to downplay that because I think when you're trying to live, like when you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're just trying to make rent and you're trying to make sure your kids have a good life or whatever it is, I think I think it's very real to get caught up in doing what it takes to get by or to get your goals, even if it means sacrificing your happiness. Um, but I don't think that necessarily has to be the case, and I think there's ways to navigate around that. I don't think we're all doomed to live like sad lives and have regrets at the end. of them, you know? I really think we're here to like find happiness every
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Well, some of the most miserable countries on the planet are the wealthiest, and
Yeah.
some of the happiest are the poorest. They
Yep.
don't have shoes. They don't have shoes or floors
Yeah.
in their homes, and they're more satisfied and happier and less suicidal than we are. So that spiritual perspective and that context, how do you get to inner peace and inner fulfillment, I think is like one of the central conversations of the next 50 years.
Huge. Yeah. I think it's going to be like a really key thing for people to be able to understand who they are and what makes them happy and what's fulfilling. And I think we're going to find, and you see this in a lot of different ways already, but I think we'll see people breaking out of the like quote unquote societal narratives. Like I saw a stat the other day in connection with Valentine's Day, and I don't know if it's true. I didn't fact check this, but it said 42% of adults are single, and fewer women are having children between the traditional childbearing ages, if at all, and people aren't coupling up as much or they're getting divorced more. There's just so much that's shifting in the like quote unquote traditional like narrative or lifestyle that's no longer true for people. And I think people are starting to find themselves and figure out what makes them happy rather than just going along to get along.
Yes, it's 41% of 18
Right.
to 29-year-olds are single, and 46% of all US adults are unmarried.
There you go. That's
Well,
a big change, right?
yeah, yeah. And also, statistically, women who are unmarried are happier than women who are married.
I can attest to that. I'm so much happier not
So you
married
were
than when
you
I
were
was married.
married.
I was married, yeah, for 4 years.
Mm.
And I like honestly the divorce to me, and he's like a good guy and nothing bad against him, but um yeah, the divorce felt like freedom. And ever since I'm like so hesitant to ever go down that path again because it's like I know how awesome I am on my own, and like the legality of being married to someone. And this, I should say this actually for all the listeners, because if 46% of you are single, let me just say, if you're ever thinking about getting married, make sure you understand the legal implications of that and what it takes to get out of a marriage. Even if you're like, nobody goes into a marriage thinking they're going to get divorced except me, but yeah, right, yeah. um but I think you need to really seriously understand the legal ramifications, because it's not just as easy as I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. It's like all of a sudden everything's commingled, or there's different rules in different states about what it takes to get out of a marriage.
Mm.
So I don't know, just kind of being a little bit more aware about that. I fully endorse it for all of you people who are thinking about marriage in the future. I know that was a huge tangent, but
No, you got me thinking about that now too. It's good. It's really good. It's almost like you're a coach or something.
I've been lawyering for almost 10 years now. Oh, yikes, crazy. I started picking up about 2 years ago, producing and seriously screenwriting. I've been screenwriting for fun, but now I'm like trying to get stuff made, which is a very different approach and
Hmm.
mindset. And I realized recently, probably last July, when I had a life activation, which was a whole nother like rabbit hole we could go down, that I wasn't following my own dreams anymore. Like when I looked back at Sarah at age probably 10 to 16, I had so many dreams for what I wanted my life to be. And it really was not the life that I am living now. And I love being a lawyer. It's so challenging. It's mentally invigorating. There's so many great things about it. But it doesn't fulfill my like soul's purpose. And I know that
Mm.
sounds very woo-woo and very LA, but I just don't feel super fulfilled. And I don't feel like I'm really helping people in the way that I'm meant to help people.
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of training, and I got certified as a sound healer and as a Reiki healer. And I'm now opening a business.
Where can they find it? What's the website for your business?
It is shinewithsarah111.com.
Nice.
Yes. So
Okay,
that will,
and if I were to come to you and I'm say I'm feeling really out of balance, I'm not myself, I'm at a career crossroads, what kind of services would you offer to me?
so to you, Misha, I would say, I mean, so I offer coaching services and that's kind of tailored to whatever you need, right? So if you're looking for coaching on producing a movie or doing something in that world, I'm happy to coach you through that. If you're looking for coaching from more of like a I need help creating space for myself to heal, I can hold that space for you and I can help you work through whatever the issues are that are coming up, whether it's like stories you need to untell yourself or unteach yourself, or obstacles that continue to come up and you can't figure out why, those sorts of things. I also do virtual sound healing and virtual Reiki. So we could also do that. So we could just do the full package. Um,
How do
Sound
you do
healing,
virtual sound healing?
yeah, well, so I it's the same as in person, but obviously via Zoom. So the sound quality doesn't hit you quite as well. I prefer in person, but I have these big crystal bowls and they're infused with all these different alchemies. And it's actually a science. So when you play certain frequencies with these bowls, the vibration interacts with your cells and it
Mm,
actually changes the shape of your cells. And your body knows how it needs to interact with the vibrations. So sometimes it's like it needs to physically do healing. Sometimes you'll feel like an emotional release. Sometimes it's a little bit more of like a spiritual journey. And so every time you do it, it's slightly different and your body gets what it needs from the different things. Not to get too into it, but the bowls also affect different chakras and like your
mm.
endocrine system and your thyroid and stuff like that. So it's like a full body literally experience.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to do it
And a
right
lot of
now.
people
It
fall
sounds
asleep.
great.
It's so comfortable. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So you really understand like in and out what it is to be an artist, what it is to try and run your own operation. I mean, it's just funny because I think a lot of people who, when they hear you're a Sundance lawyer, when they hear anyone's on staff at Sundance, they're going to think like big, scary gatekeeper, like elite, sophisticated, out of touch kind of Richie rich person. That's what I might think.
Wow.
But but first of all, you couldn't be more down to earth.
Thank you.
You couldn't be warmer and friendlier. And you're an artist, you're a filmmaker yourself, so you just probably have deep empathy for everyone submitting.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's so hard. I mean, I don't review the project, so let me like put that out there. Those aren't my decisions, unfortunately. I would love to weigh in. But yeah, I mean, when you think of, the roughly like 6,000 feature films that come in and all of the filmmakers and like you've been on productions before, you've done short films, you understand the amount of work that goes into producing a feature or a short is massive. And honestly, to anyone out there, if you've completed or been in a feature or short, like pat yourself on the back. That's a massive accomplishment in and of itself. Whether or not people have seen it, whether or not it's distributed, whether or not it gets into a festival, just honestly, just creating that and having that experience is huge, and that will get you so far. Um, I mean, and honestly, that's the other thing I would tell a lot of artists. The more chances you have to be involved with anything, whether it's a short or a feature or comedy sketches, plays, anything like that, just gives you such good experience. And, even if it's the little things like remembering that you have to have continuity between scenes, right? So you're checking for doorknobs and lights and what's on, what's off, where's the coffee cup, who's holding what in what hand, like all these little nitty bitty things that you pick up only from actually doing them, and from seeing other people do them. Um, I just, yeah, do as much as you can. That's that's what I think. But I forget how we even got here. But yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's inspiring to see all these submissions come in.
Yeah, it's inspiring to me as a filmmaker to know that someone like you works there, even though you're not reviewing the submissions. I have a feeling maybe, I don't know, you tell me, are you the only one on staff at Sundance who's like this?
No. That's actually one of my favorite things about working there is everybody is so deeply passionate about the mission. And and you would see it, I think, more. People are very focused on the festival, which makes sense. That's our most public event, and that's the thing that everybody comes to every year. But the fact that we have so many different granting programs, like documentaries,
Mhm.
um, our feature film program, our producers program, our episodic program. We have like editing, the art of editing, online courses. I mean, there's just so much that we do to try and support filmmakers at all different levels. And I think to me, that is a reflection of the groundedness and the dedication to the mission from the Sundance staff. And I should also say this is my opinion and not the opinion of Sundance Institute. But yeah, I think if you meet anyone on the staff, like that's very much reflected in how they interact with the filmmakers and the work that they do.
That is so cool. Well,
It really is.
it, I'm going to ask you a question about Sundance, but going to ask it from the perspective of a holistic and wellness coach. What would you recommend to somebody who is wanting, let's say they have a great script and they're wanting to shoot it and their dream is to premiere at Sundance? What is the advice that you would give them?
I think the advice is always follow your dreams and go for that, right? If you want to do, then do it and dream it and do everything you can to make sure that the vision and what you're seeing on the screen is what you're imagining in your head. I would also maybe say it's worth thinking about whether you might want to adjust your dream because getting into Sundance, two things. One, it's incredibly, the chances are slim. It's like, 80 to 90 films out of 6,000 for features. And then, we get 15,000 short film submissions. So it's a slim chance. And if your metric or your um your goal is achieving that and getting into Sundance and the odds are against you and you might not, then I worry a little bit about what that does for your mental health.
Right.
Because you probably made something that's really great. And just because Sundance didn't accept it doesn't mean it's not this incredible piece of art that everyone will love. But I look, chase your dreams. Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, okay, what is one piece of advice that you, as a wellness coach and healer, would give to yourself 10 years ago?
Oh man. I would tell myself to listen to my intuition.
Mm,
Yeah. It's there. And I knew every time I took a wrong turn,
mm.
uh, that it was wrong. And yeah, and I did it anyways.
Ha!
Misha, this is what makes me a great artist, though. I have so much to write about. um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think and I think that's true of um this working in this industry too. Like you kind of get a feel for your people, like people you want to work with and people
Yep.
who would be good collaborators. I think you get a feel for stories that are worth telling. Um, and I was just on the phone with an artist earlier this morning. She's a musician and she's been working on a TV series for probably, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years. And she kind of backburnered it for a couple years, but now she has such an incredible fire uh beneath her right now. And she's so excited. And she was like, I am going to make this project. I don't care what it takes. Now is the time. I'm getting
Yeah.
pings that this is what I have to do, and I am doing it. Like this is what I am doing. And I know I've seen that same fire and energy in you before too. And so I think it's really listening to that and following that instinct when you get it.
Yes. Intuition is such a great tool. And I definitely use my own to guide me. And I've also built in real time in the real world evidence to myself that I am capable of doing things. And just like building a brick wall is literally one brick at a time, that's what it's been. It's been one small piece of evidence after another. And before I know it, it's a wall.
So actually, can I ask you about that?
Yeah.
This is one of the things I struggle with is going back. I'm just constantly moving forward. And it's only when I force myself to look back that I can see those pieces of evidence. And I'm like, oh, I guess I can do this. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm wondering, how do you sort of keep in mind all of the things that you've done that have led to this point that will get you to where you want to go? Do you have like a formal way of doing that? Is it something you just think about as you think of who you are as a person?
I think the most tidy way to continue to keep them in mind is by being willing to adjust your identity on a regular basis, becoming curious about your identity because identity is a choice.
Yes.
And it, if you are willing to, you can adjust it really at any time.
Hmm.
And you can adjust it by just saying, I want to be the kind of person who is successful, or I am now the kind of person who is confident. And you can wear the clothes of that identity until the clothes fit.
Yep.
So
That
that's,
makes good sense.
yeah,
Oh,
cheat
yeah.
code number one. And
Jinko.
my coach, my coach would say that identity is one of the most essential pieces to getting what you want.
Interesting. That makes sense though, because you have to know who you are and what you're about and what your capabilities are
Yes, and you have to
to get what you
commit
want.
to a vision of yourself.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
commitment is really helpful. Another cheat code number two is to, let's say you have a certain body of work. Let's say you are constantly forgetting your body of work and you're constantly humbling yourself because of like childhood trauma or whatever. Um, if you surround yourself with people who are aware of your body of work, they're going to create an ecosystem of solidarity with that identity. Like your resume, they will reflect your resume. I mean, unless you're like constantly reminding them, like telling them that you're a moron or whatever, which does have like if you want to constantly denigrate yourself verbally to other people around you, that will affect things. But keeping people around you who see what you've done and who believe in you is very a very quick and easy way to have that continue to manifest.
Yep. That makes so much sense. That's one of the things I've sort of been trying to be more aware of recently is how your energy and other people's energy kind of come together in a collective. Like even us right now, we're like in this collective energy and it's positive and it's, reinforcing like the goodness in each other and our qualifications and who we are and who we're choosing to be. But I think if you're in sort of a space with not the wrong people, but people who aren't on that same
Yeah.
level, that's an issue. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can just say too, like reading your astral presence, you are going to be able to do anything that you want.
Thank you. I appreciate that affirmation. I feel the same about you.
Thank you
So
very
this is good.
much.
Here we go. Yeah. Yeah. But
So, what is next for you in this year coming? Because so many big changes.
Mhm.
We've got your
So
business
many.
is launched.
Hmm.
You are hopefully going to make some time for writing. Uh, Sundance is in Boulder.
Yeah.
Fill us in, like how are you coping with all these changes and what's going to happen?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, so a couple different things. One, I'm taking the business day by day. I know when I look at it as a whole, I'm very excited about it, but it's also scary because it's something totally new and it's things I don't have great evidence for. Like, can I sell myself as a healer and a coach? And I know I can in part because I've done a bunch of sound healings and everyone I do it for like loves it. And same with coaching. I naturally am a coach to a bunch of baby lawyers, which is really fun. Um, but anyways, so that's kind of my thing day by day with the business, and I'm just going to follow my intuition and grow it from there. Um, I think with the writing, I'm gonna steal a page. My colleague like 2 days ago, Andrea Alarcon, was like, "Hey, Sarah, here's a new tip. You should schedule time to write on your schedule. Literally put a block on your schedule to do it." I was like, "Ooh, genius." So I think I'm gonna try that because any writing, is it Stephen King maybe who was like, you need to write every single day. It doesn't
Yes.
matter if it's one sentence or, a novel, as he is wont to do. Um, but yeah, so I think I'm gonna try and schedule, like literally schedule writing time in my calendar. And then I'm also going to spend more time on things that expand me. So I'm going to Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and Iceland for 16 days. So with my family. So I'm like super pumped for that. And traveling for me is like one of those, I come back transformed every time I go, because it's like new people. I'm trying to learn Swedish, which is it's going. I'll say it's actually a really fun language. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that, and I think my other big commitment this year is to work on healing myself because I think as a healer, it's important to consistently be healing yourself. We're never fully healed. There's always things that are going to come up. Um, but in order to be able to hold space for other people, I need to be doing that work myself. So I'm signed up for like a 10 or 12-month healing like course. It's going to be a wild ride. Apparently everybody who's done it, it's like a King Solomon healing. I forget exactly what it's called. But everyone who's done it afterwards like completely changes their life. Like they do a 360, which I'm kind of planning on doing anyway this year. So maybe I'll like 360 and then like 540 or something. So we'll see.
Let's get you to the Olympics. That sounds great.
That's right. Yeah, no, I'll pass on that. What's in store for you this year? I mean, we talked a little bit before this podcast, and you got a lot going on in a good way.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm finishing a couple of short projects, and one of them has been hanging around for a long time, so it will be very good. It feels like the closing of a cycle. Uh, and then I have a couple feature scripts that I want to write. Um, and people are really excited about them, so they're holding me accountable to actually sitting down and doing the writing. And simultaneously, I'm scaling my business. So the podcast is going to get bigger and better than ever. And I'm going to be teaching more and going to be writing a book,
fiction, nonfiction.
nonfiction.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So taking everything that I've been teaching and coaching for these years now and putting it together in a book that can help people.
That's incredible, Misha. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Yeah. I am ready to really face what it means to bring my voice to the public.
That's a big step to really put yourself out there like that. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
But it feels like you're ready, you know? I've been watching you from the shadows for like what, I don't know, a year and a half now, 2 years? Yeah. I know. You've really like found kind of your voice and your niche, and I think it's only bigger and better things from here for you. What about personal growth? What's your goal this year?
I would like to take better care of myself.
What does
And
that
I
look
would
like?
like, yeah, I'm looking at literally there's a list in front of me on my wall, but it looks like maintaining a very clean diet and really dialing down any processed foods if I can. Uh, Getting more sleep,
Mm,
and it looks like a little more travel. I also want to fix up my home space and just adorn it in a manner befitting the kind of person that I wish to be.
I love that. I was reading some sort of study the other day about how women in particular are incredibly impacted by their space
Yeah.
and how important that is energetically. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be a really fruitful year, And I look forward to, like you were talking about, continuing to be a grounding space for the people in my community and trying to serve them in that capacity as well.
That's amazing. And I have to say, just I think that's so important for up and coming artists to have someone like you in their space because I really deeply, deeply believe that having like a mentor or coach when you're doing something that's as scary and as vulnerable as acting and writing, um, and any sort of creative endeavor, it's just, it makes things so much, I don't want to say easier, but I think it feels a lot safer.
I agree. I agree. Well, Sarah, this has been truly an honor to talk to you. Found it so insightful and so inspiring, and I really am thankful for you taking the time out of your schedule.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here with you and your listeners, and I'm excited to stay posted on what you're doing next.
Thank you, Sarah. We'll be in touch very soon. And yes, good luck to you, my dear.
The Vermilion podcast is sponsored by Vermilion, a home for artists. We offer classes, coaching, and community for creatives and innovators in the arts. If you're ready to find your voice and build the life of your dreams, we're here to support you every step of the way. Check out clubvermilion.com and schedule a free call today.